Doing it all. Today, we're going to learn how you can be a working professional while being a real estate investor. My guest, Brian Wagers, owns over 300 multifamily units while being a logistics manager at a Fortune 500 company. More of his story and more coming up.
Welcome to the Wealth Through Real Estate Investing Podcast, your source for real-world strategies focused on creating long-term wealth, cash flow, and financial freedom through real estate. Through guidance, tips, and stories of highly successful real estate investors and thought leaders, we provide you the tools to succeed and to reach the lifestyle you always wanted. And now, your host, Dwaine Clarke.
Hello and welcome back to the Wealth Through Real Estate Investing Show. This is your host, Dwaine Clarke, and today we have Brian Wagers. Brian is the president and CEO of WagersCapital, an integrated real estate investment firm which he founded in 2017, focusing on the acquisition of multifamily in the growing markets in Northwest Arkansas and surrounding markets. Brian, thank you so much for joining us on the show, and how you doing, my friend?
Doing good, Dwaine. Thanks for having me.
Yes, we haven't had any investors that we talked to in the Arkansas market. So I said, like I talk to every guest that we talk to from a new market. It's great that I do this so I can really get boots on the ground for especially people that are listening in that are interested in investing in this market so they can kind of learn more and be able to take action. So I really, glad that you're joining us today. But I read a little bit about your background and very interesting. You're doing a tremendous job out in your area. Can you kind of run us through your backstory and how you got started in real estate? Take us through your journey.
Yeah, so I got started in real estate little over 4 years ago with the purchase of a single family home. 3 years prior to that, I had graduated from college, didn't have any money. So I joined a sales company. I'd been working for them for about 3 years before I even decided I wanted to do something with my money. So, after just sticking my nose to the grind, building my book, a business, building my client list, I started to have a income problem where, I was making money, but I wanted my money to start working for me. So my first instinct was to look at the stock market. So the volatility of that really kind of shook me up a little bit. It was out of my control and too much volatility. So, everything pointed towards real estate, after that. So that's when I started analyzing deals in my neighborhood and my area, and made some offers on some single families. I had enough saved up to buy a single family. So I moved pretty quickly onto a single family, and just about as quickly as I had that rented out, I knew that the economies of scale was not going to be where I really wanted to be. Buying a house a year for 10 years isn't really where I wanted to get. So, all roads pointed to multifamily real estate. Everybody I'd listened to had graduated from single family into multifamily. So I didn't want to wait long. So I found a 12 unit in my area and, made an offer and got it under contract pretty quickly, like right as it hit the market. And I guess I got pretty lucky with that because it had just fallen out of contract. And from that first 12 unit, we're at now, fast forward 3.5 years after that 12 unit, at 375 units today. Hopefully by the end of this month, we'll be up to 425 should this next one close. So
Wow. And then you kind of, your first intuition, you said stocks, and then, the next thing would be single family, and then you went up to the 12 unit. And I can imagine kind of going from single unit, mindset over to 12 units could have been kind of intimidating. Was it more trial by fire that you kind of learned it? Did you go through any different, type of traditional educational routes, or just more like you just figured it out on the way? Because you're up to 375 units. That's pretty impressive.
yeah, I think for me, the biggest confidence was just getting that single family, being able to say that I own one myself, and I actually managed it myself. Having like some sort of experience in real estate gave me more confidence. Like going in, like making offers on the 12 unit. I actually used the same real estate broker that sold me my house. So it was a residential broker. We can get into that later, but now I've developed a lot of relationships with commercial brokers which I think is a huge part of your team.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know any better then. I just knew that I wanted to get into multifamily, and I saw, this 12 unit on market and ran the numbers, and the numbers looked good. But to get the education on the 12 unit, I started looking up people who were doing multifamily. So, you look at Michael Blanc, Kevin Bupp, Joe Fairless, Rod Cleef, some of those guys, just diving into their content. And Michael Blanc is one that like really resonated with me. And so I went to some of his seminars and, bought like a apartment building course of his. So it was almost like a textbook on how to do that. And now there's a lot out there. There's a lot of good resources and a lot of people bringing out programs. So that definitely gave me some more confidence too. And, at each step of the way, I would just kind of go back to, the due diligence part or the financing part and look back at that, as sort of a textbook.
Awesome. And as far as kind of talk to us about the Arkansas market, like I said, I know a couple investors that invest in that area. They have a lot of positive feedback there. Can you kind of take us through the general Arkansas and also your sub-markets that you're investing in and kind of the characteristics that you like about it?
Yeah. So Arkansas, I moved down here about 5 years ago, and I kind of raised an eyebrow for, you think Arkansas kind of rural area, but there's quite a few large cities in here: Little Rock, Bentonville, Fort Smith. Those are the markets that I'm involved in. So Northwest Arkansas is home to, it's the headquarter to the largest retailer in the world. Walmart is headquartered out of Bentonville, Arkansas. So they have a huge presence in Bentonville, and that kind of trickles down in the Northwest Arkansas area. You also have Tyson Foods, one of the largest chicken producers in the world. JB Hunt is out of here. And because of Walmart's presence, what Walmart did when they started about 5 or 10 years ago, in order to sell into Walmart, you have to have a home office here. So now Procter and Gamble, a lot of these other Fortune 500 companies, they'll have some sort of office that they have to set up in Northwest Arkansas. So you're seeing a lot of growth in the area, a lot of people, a lot of companies that sell into Walmart having to move here. And then that's just building its own economy around that.
That's awesome.
So yeah, those are the factors that I like a lot. And even in Springdale, which is south of Bentonville, which I talked about as Tyson and a couple other chicken companies. And then the University of Arkansas out of Fayetteville is a big anchor. Little Rock, Arkansas is about 3 hours outside of here, which also has a lot of anchors there. Look, an Amazon facility is in the works there right now. So it's also one of the largest health and hospital industries there in Little Rock. So there's a lot of pooling factors once you dive into these couple of cities that pool Arkansas.
Yeah, I was looking at a deal yesterday in the what was it? North. I forget the name of it, but it was densely populated and had some great traffic counts. I think it's just really strong area. And you had mentioned there with all of the job growth and all that stuff. And as far as kind of like landlord tenant laws, how is it in this state as well?
Yeah. So and that's another great thing. It's very landlord friendly. The eviction memorandum really didn't hit us that hard. Because it's a good friendly market for that. And once you look into Arkansas as a whole, is not as dense, but these different cities are having a lot of population growth and a lot of job growth. So I think people come here, it's a lot, the property taxes are definitely not as high as other states. And the landlord tenant laws are great as well.
Yeah, that's a big thing because people are now looking, to, especially now with the pandemic, you've seen a lot of population coming out of the big major cities, high tax cities and things like that. And they're starting to move there, especially now where you're seeing a lot of the jobs starting to pop up in markets like this. It makes it just, just another level of, this is a really good market to invest in. So, appreciate you sharing that. And as far as kind of, I know you've done several deals now. You have a really sizable portfolio. Is there one that can come to mind that is like one of your favorite ones, and you can kind of take us through the business model of that?
Yeah, I mean each one I really like. a lot of deals. I think one of my earlier deals, it was a seller financing deal. So it was a 20 unit, pretty close to downtown Springdale, one of the markets here. It was super distressed. Um, but the guy owned and managed it himself. He was tired of being a landlord. Some of the best buying opportunities comes from those owners that are still managing it themselves and, have burned out from doing that. So, it was brought to me by a commercial broker that I had done a few deals before that, and we closed on time. There was no issues on my side closing, so he felt comfortable bringing that to me before he brought it to the market. And once we dug in and started asking him questions, he didn't really want, he liked the cash flow aspect of it. So we pulled together a creative idea, and where I was able to give him some monthly payments on his seller financing portion, and where I really didn't have to bring too much money to the table. One of the local banks here actually financed some of the construction for me as well. So, that I've increased the value on that about 50% in 18 months. So but before, I had one of my partners, I asked him if he wanted in on it, but he's like, I wouldn't touch that with a 100-foot pole. But after we did all the construction, he kind of looked back and wished he did. Some of the better deals are those bigger value adds that's a lot of people are afraid of. So it was great. We were able to help the seller not have that huge tax burden and still give him some monthly payments. And we were really able to turn that little 20 unit apartment community around, where the tenants were happy to pay a little extra to live there. So that was definitely one of my favorites, and it helped me propel me even further, adding to my unit count and some more for my management team to manage.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that a lot. And then one of the bigger questions, and probably a lot of people's going to resonate with this when they hear it, is the kind of the business work-life balance, and how you've been able to take on these projects with construction components and buying units, meeting with sellers, making offers, doing all this stuff. It takes a lot of time. How were you been able to manage it? And maybe that you can give some advice for people that are also in the same position, how to run your business, do work at the same time, and make it all work.
Yeah, so I think the first step is definitely, for me, it was getting my mainstream a priority. So I didn't even start thinking about it until about 3 years, where I was working for this company and really had built up a book of business and built up systems. So I think too many people try to start a side gig of some sort before they have their mainstream, nailed down, to where they end up just their new side gigs become their main gig, and their main gig, goes away. So the first step was really just getting the first one down and getting some systems to where I could hire some assistants to handle that. And the second part was making a sacrifice. I didn't have, still don't. I mean, social life just kind of goes away a little bit. You have to make a sacrifice. I stopped drinking about 4 years ago, and that's about when my real estate kind of took apart. My weekends opened up, my Mondays and Tuesdays opened up. So I made that sacrifice of, the social aspect of that. So, now I have off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and, sacrifice nights during the week. It was a big part. Having a spouse that's on board is huge. That's another step. My third step, I would say, my wife is super supportive. She was my girlfriend at the time. But she rode around with me. We would write down address, in the beginning, before we started having good relationships with commercial brokers. She would drive the car, and I would write down addresses of distressed properties, and, we'd go home and look up the addresses, and she would help me type up the letters. So that was great having her, on my side, and, not like complaining about that, but more seeing the big picture, seeing why we were doing that, and that's a big thing for, these people who have, another job, but having a strong why is going to be huge for you to be able to push through that, especially in the beginning when you're getting a lot of rejection. Have thick skin. We all get rejected. It's fine. Just know that every no will get you closer to yes. It'll make you a little bit more polished. But yeah, not having that fear of rejection is going to be huge too, especially in the beginning.
Yeah, really good points there. Yeah, I really resonate, especially like I said, because a lot of the guests that we had that we kind of asked some similar question, they always mention kind of a strong support system. Like yeah, you can probably gut it out and do it yourself, but having this at least the mental support to say I'm there for you, I'm going to support you, but actually in the trenches with you, driving the car, writing down the stuff, doing the letters. I mean, that's the like next level there. So that,
Yeah.
kudos to the
And
wife there.
now she's doing some of the marketing stuff. She helped me put together the website, put together articles, and it's cool having her as a teammate. And if you don't have a spouse, think of start meeting up with other like-minded guys, and girls, and whether that's at REI meetups or on forums nowadays. Online platforms are huge, so get on there and start putting yourself out there. What can you bring to the table? I think knowing your own strengths is going to be big, and what you can bring to the table, and find someone else that you don't want to find someone else who has the same strengths as you necessarily, because you want to complement each other. So I think that was kind of a mistake I made in the beginning. I'm reaching out to other people that are also trying to, I've got a good deal flow and everything, and I'm reaching out to other people who are kind of just getting started, so it wasn't really going anywhere in the beginning. So, realize your strengths and where you can improve, and then where you can improve, that's the type of partner you're going to want to help and look for.
Absolutely. Yeah. Very good points there. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. That's really awesome. And to kind of take us through, I know you said you have your profession, you got your business, but kind of take us through your kind of your work day. And then do you have any special morning routines?
Yeah. So right now I'm waking up at 3:45 Central, pretty early. I'll wake up, go through my email. Actually, my day starts the night before. Before I go to bed, I recall my day. So when I woke up and until I just laid in bed, it really helped. I've been doing this for about 12 months, and it's really helps with my recall and my memory. And then before I go to bed, I'll say something I'm grateful for, usually my family or my growth and my personal growth. And then when I wake up, read my emails, get ready for the gym. I'll have a power smoothie, and then I'll write down 3 or 5 tasks that I want to do that day. Once I do that, I'll read about 10 pages, and then from about 5 a.m. till 6 a.m., I'll go to the gym. I'll do weight training. And then sometime I usually eat lunch at my desk or while I'm working. So around lunchtime, I like to do some sort of cardiovascular workout, whether that's even a walk, sometimes a light jog, to really reboot me for the rest of the second half of the day. And then, that kind of helps me get through the end of the afternoon. Then when get home, just kind of, reevaluate what I need to do the next day, kind of set my schedule for the next day.
Absolutely. And then as far as kind of like tools or resources, I know you have like your wife and other teammates that's kind of part of your organization. And what do you guys use to kind of keep you guys more organized and more productive?
Yeah. So just the Google Calendar in your phone is big. Put in, timing things out on there. If you need to do something the day after, I would go ahead and put that in the night before, put that on your calendar so you don't forget. And then we use Active Campaign to send emails and get email automations. It's a great resource. Calendly is a great resource for booking calls and staying organized on there, so we can be on the same schedule.
Awesome. And you had mentioned it early as far as kind of, gratitude, which is part of like your whole routine and things that you think about religiously. Can you kind of explain a little bit more on that, and, what are you most grateful for?
Yeah, I think being in a that's a great question. Being in a constant state of gratitude, I think is going to help you, being positive and with your mindset. So, I'm grateful for you, Dwaine, for having me on this show. It's a great opportunity to be put in front of your listeners, who are also interested in real estate investing. I'm grateful every day, that I improve. So I think just being in that constant state of grateful, what can you get out of every moment is big, and staying positive.
Absolutely. And then finally, we'll make sure to have all your information in the show notes, but what's the best way to get in contact with you, Brian?
Yeah, you can email me at Brian, Brian, at WagersCapital, WAGERS capital.com. My wife put together a little ebook about diversifying your portfolio, free to your listeners, wagerscapital.com/wealth plan. Check out our website, and we're on Instagram and Facebook, so feel free to connect with us there.
Awesome. Yeah, will do. You guys are doing a tremendous job building a huge portfolio, inspiring a lot of young people to do this thing. And like I said, really educated us today about the Arkansas market, all the benefits moving there. Congratulations to you. Best to you and the wife, and have a great rest of the new year. And I look forward to connecting with you again soon.
Yeah, thanks, Dwaine. We'll stay in touch.
All right, take care, my friend. Hey there, this is Dwaine Clarke, your host of the Wealth Through Real Estate Investing Show. I want to thank you again for tuning in and hope you're enjoying this valuable content. While I got you for a quick minute, I wanted to send you an invitation to join our growing investor community. It's called the Passive Investors Club. It's a group of like-minded individuals like you who are seeking financial freedom and to build true wealth through passive investing in commercial real estate. We take a totally different approach to investing that is opposite, that is pushed by the financial advisors and what we see in the mainstream media. We like to invest in real assets that we can touch and understand, and that are not subject to the wild swings of the financial markets. We don't want to be part of the herd who pursues the traditional route, leaving our financial future to Wall Street. So if you're interested in joining our group and to sharing resources and opportunities, then go to passiveinvestorsclub.com/join. Joining the club is completely free and there's no obligation. And all our members receive our free Passive Investors course along with tons of resources and content. So again, passiveinvestorsclub.com/join.